Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC, on WHTC.com, and on the WHTC app for your smartphone. Once again, here's your host, Gary Stevens.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, December 28th. Once a month, we catch up with things going on at the Zeeland Historical Society, the Decker House Museum, and the historic old New Groningen Schoolhouse. And to help us with that latest on that is the Executive Director of the Zeeland Historical Society, Caitlin Vermeers, on the other side of our table. Caitlin, good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Good morning. To you as well.
Glad you are with us. If you have a question for Caitlin, she'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we talk about upcoming programs and exhibits, we want to take care of one pressing matter more than anything else as we chat on this 28th day of December. Sunday midnight comes very quickly. If you wish to make a contribution to the Zeeland Historical Society, you really only have 2 business days and in person and 4 overall to be able to do it.
Right, in order to be counted for the fiscal year 2023, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about how people can help financially support the Zeeland Historical Society before the taxman deadline of midnight on Monday.
So we do have a link on our website, so you can always give online. We do honor anything post-dated 2023 as well. So if you mail in a check anytime before, Sunday, they won't take it. So anytime before Saturday, we will honor that as a 2023 contribution. And
dare I ask, how much of the revenue for the society comes in the month of December as people start thinking ahead for tax time?
Yeah, we bring in about 15% of our revenue in December. So it's always, that's true for a lot of nonprofits. Year-end giving is a huge factor in planning financials for nonprofits. So.
I'll be blunt. How's giving this year been?
Giving has actually been phenomenal this year. We have exceeded what we budgeted for income already this year. However, we have budgeted. It's because when they hired me 2 years ago, we had a huge increase in expenses. So we've budgeted a budget to have a deficit for 5 years following that, planning to gap it. So don't let that discourage you from giving. We've exceeded what we budgeted for income. However, we still have a budget deficit. So
it has that sort of shrunken the projections.
Yes.
In a positive way. So in other words, it's not as bad as you thought it would be right now.
Correct. Yeah. And we project that we will be breaking even at the end of next year. So every year that I've been working here, that gap has gotten smaller and smaller.
All right. 3-letter word to ask you is, why has that been better?
Well, the whole idea of when you hire staff, it's an investment. So as Audrey and I, our 2 staff, have been doing more programming, we've been asking for more money because we have more things going on that we need money for. We've started annual fundraiser. All those things have helped to not only show people that it's worth supporting what we're doing, because that's really important, but also to just ask.
What are the biggest needs right now for the Zeeland Historical Society, besides getting back into the black on this or getting into the black?
Right.
But what are the biggest needs as you see 2024 just over the horizon that hopefully you and the society can be able to meet those needs in the upcoming year? What are the biggest challenges?
So something that we talk about almost every board meeting is storage. So we are actually running out of storage for our collection space. We use the basement of our 2 buildings, and it's getting pretty full. So we are looking ahead for solutions to find more storage, build more storage, renovate our space to have more storage. We're just looking at different solutions because we don't want to stop collecting things. So we need to figure out where that future stuff is going to go.
Limited space availability within the buildings itself. Could I also say limited property space as well? In other words, you might have to start thinking we might have to find some land to be able to build a storage or capacity, or if the popularity of the museum continues, Decker Heights is nice, but we might have to start thinking about a new Zeeland museum.
Yeah, those are all kind of things that we're looking at. We're definitely still in the prospecting phase, so nothing is concrete. But
all right. As for the collection itself, obviously you can't control what comes in.
Yeah.
But are there certain things that people have said, if you can find this, it'd be great to have in the collection? Are there certain things you'd like to get your hands on this coming year?
Oh, there's so many things. So one of the things is we don't have a lot of art from Zeeland artists. So we would love to grow our art collection from people. We just got in a piece this year from an artist. I'm blanking on his first name, but last name Van Dyke. He was a soldier during World War II. He had a promising art career and was showing in galleries in Chicago. He got drafted and then died, sadly, in World War II. So a very short career. And we had someone donate one of his charcoal sketches to the museum this year. So that was really exciting.
Yeah, it's nice to have that donation. And it's kind of tough to, for a museum, a small museum like the Zeeland Museum, to try to compete for artifacts,
Right.
in this case from an artist, because if he was that good, they're in private collections, and they're not going to
Exactly.
donate it so easily.
That's exactly right. a lot of his work is valued, so it's hard for someone to come up with, to justify donating it for no money.
That's true. Besides art, perhaps tangible things. What about certain eras of Zeeland that, let's just say, they might not be great value monetarily,
Right.
but it's a slice of life from, say, the 1930s or the 1920s. I mean, is that still something that the museum would like to get their hands on?
Yeah, definitely. And actually, some of what we don't have a lot of are some of the newer decades, like the 60s onward, because when they started collecting that, those things weren't considered historic. So we're starting to get things from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and could definitely use more. And some of you may have those things, judging by you being alive during those decades.
Yeah, and then, of course, keeping in mind, perhaps, we need these things from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We don't want to burden our successors from 20 years from now saying, we got to find stuff from the 2020s. Let's start stashing some stuff now.
Definitely. There was some interesting work. We didn't do much, but other museums, like the Tri-Cities museums, have done interesting, in Grand Haven, work of trying to collect things about the COVID pandemic while it was happening. So understanding that this is going to be something that historians want to study. So let's collect this stuff now while we have it. Things like masks that people sewed during that period, and everyone was frantically sewing masks.
Our friends over at a couple of businesses around here were making masks during the outbreak because they couldn't, they needed some sort of income. We'll see. If you got a question for Caitlin Vermeres of the Zeeland Historical Society, she'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Let's talk about a couple of things going on now. Something coming up this Saturday involving an egg drop.
Yeah, so our last event of the year, we are challenging anyone of any age to come and design a container that will protect an egg from dropping from the second story of our building. So you at home can design whatever structure you want. Get creative, use materials you have at home. We've had people use some really creative things like wrapping paper. Someone used an actual egg carton and then tried to stuff it last year. So look around and see what you could find at home. put an egg inside, and then come out to the museum on Saturday. We're going to drop the eggs at noon, so come before noon, and we'll see if it survives.
Now, obviously you want it to survive. Is there going to be any prizes for perhaps the one that maybe you have somebody, you got 5 or 6 people that they how they survive. Okay, round 2. Which one survives after round 2?
Yeah, we've done that the past couple of years of drop them again and see if they make them again. We don't have any prizes, but we will have hot chocolate and cookies for everybody.
Okay, so. And then of course you have to test the eggs to make sure that nobody is sneaking in a hard-boiled egg, so that they cheat.
Yeah.
You don't want
no
that.
cheating.
Yeah, let's play fair. And of course, for some of us, memories of these egg competitions usually are not very good. So I think I will take a pass on that a competition, but that's okay. I'm going to see my son on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. We are also looking forward to something new, not so much on the 1st of January because it's a holiday, nothing's open. But on the 2nd of January, the Zeeland Historical Society has a new membership situation.
We do, yeah. So our board has evaluated our membership program because it hasn't changed for a long time. So trying to offer benefits that actually mean things to our members, and also just with the reality of inflation and costs of the membership program, we are relaunching a new membership structure. So individual memberships will start at $30, and then family memberships will be $50. From there, it goes on to $500 or $150, and then $500, and then $2,000 for increasing benefits for your membership.
Okay, so it's basically a way to, again, upgrade it, but also give incentives for people to give more.
Right. And there are some realities, like we mail a quarterly newsletter. The cost of printing that and mailing that has risen a lot the last 5 years. So just in looking at that, we can't offer those benefits unless it's at a certain level.
Okay. So, and then the new levels will be published on the website, which is Zeeland. I'll get it right because I hit the wrong button here. ZeelandHistory.org.
Yes.
That'll be available there. All right.
An exciting perk of membership that we've already had, but we're really trying to highlight, is we are a member of the North American Reciprocal Membership Program, the NARM program. So if you are a member at the 150 level or higher, you are also a member of NARM, which gets you access to a lot of different museums and gardens and historical, or not just historical, other things too around the country. So for a lot of those places, the price of the $150 membership is pretty close to what you pay for a family to go, such as the Kalamazoo Air Zoo is a member. And so if you're ever going to go there this year, being a member of the Historical Society is to your benefit.
Right. That will certainly help as well. I want to backtrack for a moment. We were talking about the deadline to give for 2023 tax purposes is midnight Sunday online, and post date your if you're going to mail the check, have it dated for the 31st by the 31st of December. There is the year-end appeal, which I should have brought up when we were talking about it earlier. Yeah. Tell us about this year-end appeal, because that is winding down too.
That is, yeah. So this was the letter that we sent out to our supporters and potential supporters. In this letter, we really highlighted the work we've been doing inventorying our collection. So the inventory process is something most museums do every 3 to 4 years. We have never done it, actually. So there was a lot of work to do to go back and take stock of what we have. What we have match the collection or the catalog numbers that we have them for, and just get all of our paperwork backed up. We started last year in January with a 5% inventory completion. We are now at 90%. So that has been a major focus this year for our work. And it's going to help our programming be better, our exhibits be better. It's going to really streamline everything we do because we know what we have and where it is.
Well, 90%, I say, by this time, December 28th, 2024, should be completed.
We hope so. I will say this last 10% is going to be a lot slower because we got all the easy stuff done. So the last 10% is things that we need to really look through the catalog, try to match stuff up. But I think optimistically we can be done by December next year.
Well,
yeah.
Keep us informed, as they say, about the efforts to get everybody cataloged in law. Put in a nice orderly way.
Yeah.
To be able to have indeed a Zeeland Historical Society, hate to say this, out there act together.
Right. Well, it was not run by people who had professional experience for many years, and they did it as good as they could. But there are just some things that are industry standards that weren't done, so we're doing them now.
Caitlin, the current exhibit spotlighting our friends from Miller Knoll and Herman Miller. It's winding down. We have basically a month left on that temporary exhibit.
It is. Yes, we extended that 1 month. So initially it was going to come down this week, but we were able to extend that loan for the items with Herman Miller or Miller Knoll. So you have now until January 27 to come see it, and then it will be gone.
For those who may not have been aware of this particular exhibit, some of the things that people will see when they come to the Decker Museum and take a look at this exhibit.
Yes, they will see. We have over 40 pieces on loan from the Miller Knoll archive. So furniture pieces, examples of designs. Some of them are limited edition, one-of-a-kind pieces. So even if you've seen the designs before, it's still worth coming to see. The focus of the exhibit is on the design history of the company. So it'll take you through different eras with different designers such as George Nelson, Ray and Charles Ames, Gilbert Rohde, and talk through what those designers pioneered for that company. Well, it also has different sections that highlight things like DJ Dupree, who's the founder of Herman Miller. It talks about his spirituality because he was a very spiritual man. So in our church room, we have an exhibit on that. We have an exhibit on plywood and World War II. So Ray and Charles Ames, who are major designers for Herman Miller, designed leg stints during World War II. So connecting that. So you'll see if you are interested in design, there's still something there for you. I think you'll be interested in.
Again, the Herman Miller exhibit, honoring the 100th anniversary of Herman Miller. The Miller Knoll exhibit goes on through January 27th. And after that, what are we looking at for 2024 as spotlighted exhibits at the Decker Museum?
So next June, we will open a new exhibit on agriculture in West Michigan. So our programming theme this coming year is going to be on agriculture. We'll have a number of other programs to go along with it, but the major exhibit's going to look at the history of agriculture in West Michigan, which is obviously a huge history. And of course, with Zeeland being part of it as well, our friends over at Zeeland Farm Services, hopefully they'll be prominent in that and step up like Miller Knoll has done with its exhibit, and hopefully our friends at ZFS will be able to do that as well. And part of the thing that will help in terms of these programs is sponsorships opportunity. Yeah, so this past year we launched we're calling our program sponsorship. So for many of our programs, this allows people to directly underwrite the cost of that program. So it's a lower level sponsorship. So if you don't have a lot of sponsorship dollars to give, it's a really effective way to use that money to make something happen in the community and also get your name out there. All right. So it's a $250 program sponsorship to support cultural and historical education. But, if you want to
donate more than $250, you get maybe a little bit higher up on the
right. And I will say that's separate from things like our exhibit. So we're going to do a separate sponsorship appeal for some of our more major programming, like our exhibit or fundraisers, that sort of thing.
During 2023, the Decker Heights Museum, Zeeland Historical Society became a welcome center for the city of Zeeland.
Right.
We've talked about it in previous appearances, and it's a good time to sort of revisit that now, as the first full year of this will be in 2024. And for people who want to get to know a little bit about Zeeland, maybe the first place is to look at its past.
Absolutely. So it was kind of a natural pairing because people who have very little familiarity can also learn about the community through our exhibits. So we have information there about restaurants and walking tours you can do and different stores to get to know the community, things like the Critter Barn. But you also could take some time to learn about the history of the community, and that will help you know the present. So
that will be available at the Decker Heights Museum, and it's open during regular museum hours?
Correct.
All right, I didn't know whether or not it was like one of those things where you can step in anytime, get a couple of brochures, and then walk around and do that. That's not available, or is it?
No, it's only available during museum hours.
All right, I just want to get that clarified along the lines. And of course, for the museum to be open during regular hours, only 2 people. And let's put it this way: Caitlin loves the museum. After all, it helps provide for the family and the new little baby. However, she doesn't want to be there every minute of every day. In other words, they need some help. They need some volunteers.
We do, yes. An ongoing need. We definitely need greeters. So people who are willing to come and just be the face of the museum. We can give you, you have other things to do while you're there, but the main thing is to learn about the museum and to orient people to it. If you are not interested in that, but you still want to volunteer, you still reach out, because we have a number of other areas that we need some volunteer help in, such as maintenance, things like writing content for newsletters. There's a plethora of areas. So
that opportunity and other opportunities involved with the Zeeland Museum for those who might have artifacts that has a strong Zeeland tie-in.
Yes.
Maybe you have some old photographs. Maybe your relatives, your grandmas or grandpa came from Zeeland. Mm-hmm. And they might not have been a past mayor or a member of the city council, but they're still, still from Zeeland. Hey,
still their history.
The Zeeland Historical Museum might be interested in some of those artifacts. How to get it to them? Very simple. The Zeeland Historical Society's phone number is 616-772-4079, 616-772-4079. The website, not only for information on the museum, but also how you can give through the museum, is zeelandhistory.org. That is zeelandhistory.org. And if you need to send an email, info@zeelandhistory.org. That is info@zeelandhistory.org. Caitlin Vermeers, thank you very much for keeping us up to date on things going on at the museum. Wish you and everyone at the museum well. A very successful and nice 2024 ahead. And if all goes well, we'll do this again in January.
Sounds great. Have a happy new year, Gary.
Thank you very much, Caitlin Vermeers, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. CBS News with Peter King straight ahead, followed by WHTC News. And then it is the day that the Pledge of Allegiance became official. And we'll play the Pledge of Allegiance from a notable comedian in a few moments on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.